Hello, everybody. It's Dennis and Andy with your movie review just for you. Last night, we went and saw the new Channing Tatum movie. No, not Deadpool Wolverine. Spoilers. Blink twice. Um, Blink twice. Channing Tatum. It's a thriller, not a horror movie. My kid thinks it's a horror movie. She didn't go. It's a thriller. Dennis, what's Blink twice about?
Well, when tech billionaire, played by said Channing Tatum, Slater King meets a new cocktail waitress, Frida, at the fundraising gala, he invites her to join him and his friends on a dream vacation on his newly acquired private island.
Ooh.
Strange things start to happen. Frida must question her reality.
So Frida is a cocktail waitress. Her roommate, bestie friend, who she played by.
Jess. Jess is played by Alia Shawkat.
Okay,
Who
so they're
I,
best
I
friends.
know her from Arrested Development. Yeah, love that show.
There you go. And I actually know her from the show on FX coming back for season 2 in September called Old Man. But anyhow, we're here to talk about Blink Twice. They're besties. They live together. They're cocktail waitresses at this swanky party hosted by the billionaire Channing Tatum. They slip into some dresses that they bought or brought in so they can mingle with the party. Frida and Channing Tatum click. They have a connection. And like you see in the trailer, he invites both the ladies to his private island where it's about 5 girls, the 2 of them and 3 others. Then you've got his cadre of besties that hang out with him and work for him. Christian Slater, um, Haley Joel Osment, I believe that's his name, the kid from Sixth Sense that sees dead people, all grown up with a beard. And then there's this other guy in it who I believe I actually meant to mention this to you. He's a younger kid in his 20s, big, wide smile. I believe he's in the new Gladiator movie, but I could be wrong.
That's
If not,
Ethan.
doesn't
That's
matter.
Ethan Hawke's kid.
Is it really?
Yeah, Levon Hawke. Yeah,
I
that's
didn't know.
Ethan's son.
Oh, that's actually pretty cool. Who's the mom? It's not Uma Thurman, is it? Are those two a couple? I can't remember. Doesn't matter. Anyhow, so yeah, so they go to this island. They have to give up their cell phones. This is all stuff you see in the trailer, and it's just a party. It's these great dinners because there's a whole servant staff, of course. Drinking tons of champagne, smoking pot, hanging out by the pool. I got to be honest. After about a day of that, maybe 2, I would be bored out of my mind and be like, "Yeah, I'd like to go now." I don't know about you, Dennis, but that would bore the shit out of me after like 2 days.
So number one, the island was neat in terms of when you get there. One of the cool parts about it is kind of the setup because both her and Jess, Frida and Jess, are they're just waitresses. You know that they've waitressed at this gala before because she kind of gets yelled at by her supervisor and basically like smile, don't mingle so much, blah 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 blah. And they don't have a lot of money. They were having a hard time paying rent. And she does something fun, and they bring dresses and they sneak out of their serving uniforms and go on these gala dresses, and they just pretend to mingle. And that's when bad things happen. But that's what gets Channing Tatum to notice her. And eventually they talk all night and gets invited to the island. It was really a neat setup on how they did it. And that gets them to the island. But we do have to talk about one thing. And that was before the movie started, they flashed on the screen trigger warnings. So they
Oh yeah, I totally forgot about that. This is an Amazon produced movie, which is funny in itself because it's like, okay, well, we know where it's going to end up streaming. And they did. They flashed on, and it wasn't all there's going to be strobe lights in this, so you might stroke out or whatever, seizure. No, It was a trigger warning because, and you know this from the trailer, they go to this party island. It's not like an Epstein Island, but you know, the dude's a billionaire. He's got his buddies there, 5 women they bring to the island. So there's going to be some, you know, sexy stuff in the movie, right? It's an R-rated movie. Okay. So they flash this trigger warning, and I look at Dennis and I go, seriously? And then we're not doing a spoiler part of the review, but I'll tell you this. There's nothing in this movie that needed that trigger warning. If they're going to put a trigger warning on this movie for that, holy crap. You want to talk about a snowball gaining speed? I just can't wait to see what other movies they might do this to. And, you know, Amazon produced, that is, because I don't know about you, but when it got to the scene, because it was one scene, I was like, they did a trigger warning for this?
Yes. Yeah, that literally was my reaction. We didn't talk about this, but you know, other than trigger warning, and then the only thing he said, "Were you triggered?" And I was like, "Nope."
I was triggered by some things in the movie that I was like, really? But other than that, so yeah, so they get to the island, they're partying it up, all that stuff, and you know, in the trailer, you obviously find out that Jess, Frida's best friend there, disappears. So now it becomes a mystery of what happened to her. You know, from a performance aspect of the movie, I thought Channing Tatum was fine. Not bad, not great, just Channing. Seeing him play a bad guy, you know, that part of his character didn't really come out until the end. And I mean, did I buy it? Sure. I didn't sit there and go, Channing's not a bad guy. Frida, who I believe was the real, you know, headliner star of the movie, I liked her performance. You know, maybe I've seen her before. I didn't recognize her.
Yeah,
Um,
from she played Whitney Houston in the big Whitney Houston remake.
didn't see it. Um,
Uh,
but I liked her performance. She has this quirkiness about her in regards to, you know, I think, you know, her and Jess, both the actresses, are attractive in a unique, almost real life way. And what I mean by that is they're not the Megan Foxes where you're like, oh, you know, you got to do a lot to make her look dumpy and whatever. These two actresses were believable and, you know, they're attractive. And you, I just bought them in the roles. You know, I think if Megan Fox was cast in one of these roles, I'd be like, nope, I don't buy it at all.
yeah,
Um,
no. The only thing about Frida that kind of drove me nuts, and you had just mentioned that she had the pixie haircut, and
yeah.
wasn't a fan of that. But with that being said, you know, she was great. She had great chemistry, and this
Yeah.
really is a Naomi's movie to carry on her shoulders, and I think she did. The cast of
Oh yeah.
characters with Christian Slater playing Vic, that was great. He's not in a lot. He's mainly there for picture taking, and you saw that in the trailer. But he's got a really cool little side subplot story involving his pinky, which you will probably enjoy when that comes. Haley Joel Osment plays Tom, and you know, not a lot there either. But then Adriana Orjana, she plays Sarah. Loved her in Andor, and she was great. She is the one you really dislike through the movie. She's got this bad vibe about her, and yet she has to pull it all together. And it is her and Frida that have to, Sarah and
Work
Frida, that
together.
really wind up bonding. And it was
It's
believable how she did a 180 in my mind.
Well, I was going to say, in the beginning, you're like, I don't like this chick at all, and then you turn around and you like her. She really did a great 180, and her and Frida really did have good chemistry and stuff. There's definitely twists in it. It's a thriller, and
a couple of
yeah,
great cameos for they're small parts, but they're fun to see. Kyle MacLachlan, always love to see him in a movie. And Gina Davis, have not seen
Gina
her
Davis, yes.
in a while. Love to see her back on the big screen.
Yeah, haven't seen Gina. I can't even tell you last time I saw her in a movie. So that was good. That's the basic gist of the movie. Good performances and stuff. Dennis, I went first last week. It's now your turn. What are you giving this bad boy?
Blink Twice. I thought it was solid. We don't want to give away too much because, for me, this was a slow burn to start with. And,
Yes.
but once it kicked in, it really kicked in and it made it all worthwhile. I think it was a solid. I didn't think I was going to like this kind of a movie going in, but this is why we go see them. I did like it. I'm giving this a 7.0. I thought it was a solid movie. I'm glad we see it. It was this or The Crow, and I think we made the right choice.
From what I've read about The Crow, I agree. I'm with you, big guy. I'm also giving it a 7.0. It is a slow burn, a little too slow of a burn. If I'm going to give it anything, it's an hour and 42 minutes. And I think they could have sped up some of the stuff in the beginning. It just seemed like the partying on the island took a little too long, but you do lose a sense of time. And I think that was the purpose behind it, is so even you as the viewer lose the sense of how long have they been here, because that is a key point in the story. So I'm giving it a 7.0 as well. Do we have any critic scores?
Yeah, let's see. IMDb is up and it's got a 7.0.
Oh,
now on Rotten Tomatoes, they just introduced something, and it's the critics' review is at a 78%. So the critics are enjoying this. There is no audience score because as of right now, Rotten Tomatoes is going with the popcorn meter of only verified users. So apparently they've listened to Disney's complaints and they're worried about review bombing. So the only way to become a verified viewer is to purchase your tickets ahead of time through Fandango, which they have a partnership with, which, just so you guys know, we go to AMC, that is our theater, and we use the AMC app. We all do. And there's also Regals, and we have a Regal app. I do not use Fandango. So we will never be allowed to be on the popcorn meter now. And there is no audience score for this.
Well, there you go, guys. But you know what there is an audience score for? KOR-DRATH The Awakening. Everybody's loving it. 50,974 bucks, 704 backers. Basically, one backer away from 51,000, getting closer to the next stretch goal of the Bart Sears, Dan Lawless print. Guys, if you like the high action fantasy stuff like Game of Thrones, the classic Conan, which we grew up on loving, and Dungeons and Dragons, you are going to love this book. We mix all those up, pour out, and bake it in an oven, and KOR-DRATH and Adriana come pouring out. High fantasy, high adventure. There's even a game module for the role-playing gamers out there that Dennis wrote. It's the second one. We did one on the first campaign. The link is in the description below. Go check this out. And of course, closing soon, KOR-DRATH, A Christmas Miracle. It is a children's book made for kids, made for early readers. Are you still reading to your young ones? Get them this book for the holidays. Fun illustrations, one per page. I drew them in a simpler style. Dennis wrote a great Christmas tale between KOR-DRATH and Adriana. We think everyone will enjoy. There's an activity book as well for coloring and crossword puzzles, and there's an adult version of the book too. What's that about? It's a tease. Go click on the link, scroll down, and you'll see what we're talking about. So check that out as well, guys. And yeah, we'll get that to the printer in the first week in September in a couple weeks. And next week on the DNA show, Wednesday at 3 p.m., Art to Bear, Shanta and Jetty are going to be the guests on the show. Two guests, two guys. Well, it's still going to be a three-person show because Big D is on vacay next week. So it'll be me holding down the fort.
Yeah, you will.
Yeah, I will, which means the ratings will go through the roof. It usually happens. I don't know why, but just saying.
Well,
So
that's what.
everybody, like, subscribe, and share. Enjoy your weekend. We'll catch you guys later. And we do have a movie review for next week, so stay tuned. Bye-bye, everybody.